Welcome to Cracker's Crazy Living. It is Wednesday evening. Tonight I am going to make a creamy one-pan crispy chicken pasta. So I'm going to put you over here on the stove. I've got you set just a little bit lower tonight, so you can actually see my pan. I know sometimes when I adjust this so you can see me, you can't see what's going on in my pan. And I want you to be able to see. And I can't turn this down any more than it already is. So, you won't be able to see me because I'm going to readjust this to where it's down and you can see my pan. Hopefully you can see that a little bit. All right, so in this bowl right here, I have some breading. This calls for chicken tenderloins, so we have to prep the tenderloins. So in this bowl, you have a 1/4 cup of panko breadcrumbs, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of paprika. I did use those seasonings, but I started with Italian breadcrumbs. So that was just gave me a little bit of a head start. So in a large skillet, you're going to heat the skillet while you're preparing your chicken, and in a flat bowl or plate, you're going to combine your breadcrumbs, which is what I just had told you. Stir to combine, and we're going to set that aside. I'm not going to turn my pan on right at this moment because it doesn't need to get that hot. Arrange the chicken breast tenderloins in a single layer, and you're going to season it with salt, pepper, paprika, onion powder, and garlic powder, and toss it to fully coat. So we're going to work on that next. I'm going to get my chicken out. And these are some nice chicken fingers type tenderloins. And then just give them a quick rinse. I rinse my chicken. A lot of people don't. I do. All right, I'm going to get a plate. Arrange my chicken pieces on my plate so I can just put that coating of seasoning on there. I have 7 pieces of chicken tenderloin. Found this recipe on Pinterest, so I thought that I would give it a try for something different. All right, so to the chicken, I'm going to add my salt. Give it a sprinkling of salt. Black pepper. Paprika, sometimes it's hard sprinkling paprika without it dumping out everywhere. try to get just a little bit and you get a ton. Onion powder. Garlic powder. Oops. Come out a little bit fast. And then you're just going to toss these around in the seasoning just to kind of get them all mixed up. Just to get the seasoning all kinds of all over it. All right, that's good. Okay. Okay, then it calls for mayonnaise. So what we're going to do now is we are going to coat one side of our chicken pieces with mayonnaise. All right, so I'm going to get my mayonnaise. Suppose you could probably use any kind of mayonnaise you like. I like Hellmann's. Alright, so how much mayonnaise? 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, it says. So, on one side of the chicken, coat with mayonnaise, dip the chicken mayo side down into the seasoned breadcrumbs. So, we're just going to smear mayonnaise. Let me put some in a separate dish. I suppose I should do that. I'm not even measuring it. It's just a scoop. The rest of this back. This is going to be very different. Interesting. All right, just going to let that sit for a minute. I got way too much mayonnaise. Yeah, 2 tablespoons would have been perfect. Okay, then I'm going to dip it in there, in the breadcrumbs right here, and then you add your 2 tablespoons of oil to the heated skillet. All right, I'm going to turn my skillet on. I'm going to add my seasoning to that. I mean my oil. Place the chicken into the pan, breading side down. Fry for 2 to 3 minutes or until the breading is nice and golden brown. Remove from the pan and set aside. Then I gotta have shallots. I don't have shallots, but I'll have to chop up an onion. Okay, and we'll continue on with this. Oil. I've just moved all my oils. I'm not quite used to. I'm still looking. Okay, so this is a creamy. Let's see, what kind of oil do I want? Herb. I got some herbed olive oil here. So I'll just put a bit in there. Let this heat up. While that's heating up, I'm going to go ahead and chop my onion. I'll come right back. Okay, my oil is heating. I have to turn it down. So I dipped my chicken, mayonnaise side down. Now the breading called for a quarter of a cup of breading. I used a half a cup because it seems like every time I use or get a different recipe, any recipe actually, and I have to dip something in the breading, I never have enough. Seems to be that way. I don't know why you only dip one side into the breading. I'm not sure. This is a brand new recipe. I've never made this before. I find a lot of recipes on Pinterest because I get bored cooking. Alright, so a quarter cup might have been enough because I have all this left over. Try to zhuzh my oil over a bit. There is a lot of components to this dish, for sure. But we're going to test it out, see how it is. I hope it's good. I hope I don't go through all this trouble when I don't like it or my husband doesn't like it. I don't think that would be good, right? I'm just going to shred some cheese. Oh, that's doing, calls for 2 ounces of shredded mozzarella. I have 8 ounces, so we're going to do, we like cheese, so I'm going to do like half of this block. It called for shredded or cubed cheese. Garlic. It's a lot of components. I'm going to get some garlic. I have the Spice World pre-minced garlic that I'm going to use. Okay, now it only says to just cook it until your breading is golden brown, and then take it out. So that's what I'm going to do. My breading is nice and golden, and set it aside. So set it aside. Put it on a paper plate. I'm going to move it. All right. Then it says to add 2, I think was it? Add the shallots to the, okay, so it calls for 1 whole finely chopped shallot. I don't have shallots, so I just have a sweet onion. So I did a couple rings of sweet onion, probably more like 2 shallots. Just will cook the onion until it's softened. Trying to turn this down so it doesn't burn. Didn't say to scrape the pan out before you did this, so this is how I'm doing it. We're gonna see how this works. Okay. Add the shallots to the fry for about 3 minutes, cook, and then add the garlic and cook for 2 more minutes, and then add in the tomatoes. Okay, this recipe called for 1 15-ounce can of diced petite tomatoes, and I accidentally bought the wrong ones. I bought the petite, well, for one thing, I didn't get a 15-ounce can. I got a 10-ounce can, and then for the second thing, it had, how much garlic here? 2 cloves of garlic, so I'm going to say that's kind of like 2 teaspoons of garlic, minced garlic. Yeah. Are you recording? Yeah. And I mentioned I was going to be. 1 minute. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so the 2 cloves of garlic, and it called for 1 15-ounce can of petite diced tomatoes, and I ended up getting a 10-ounce can, but it was diced tomatoes with green chilies, and I don't want that. So what I am going to use is my homemade canned bruschetta tomatoes, and you have to drain it. So I'm not even going to use this whole thing. I'm just going to take a few spoonfuls out. I bet this will make it really, really good. My homemade tomatoes. Probably wouldn't hurt to use this whole thing, but I'm not gonna. And it calls for 1 3/4 cup of chicken stock. I have chicken broth. Don't really have to cook those tomatoes. It said to cook the tomatoes for a few minutes. I don't really have to because my canned tomatoes are already cooked. 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Yep, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Alright, then it says to taste this, check for Turn it on high. Let the liquid come to a boil, and then add the shells. It called for a 120-ounce box of a certain brand of shells I've never heard of. I'm using Mullers. I don't know if that's going to be enough liquid though. Turn the heat on high and allow the liquid to come to a full boil, and then add in the shells. Cover and cook for 5 minutes. So, we'll do that. I'm going to find my lid. That's not it. I wonder where my lid to that went. Surely I had the lid to that pan. I don't have lids in here. Maybe I didn't save the lid to that pan. I might not have a lid to this big pan. Where'd all my lids go? I don't have a lid to this fry pan. I thought that I did, but I don't. So now what am I going to do? Oh, maybe I'll improvise and use a use a sheet pan. Maybe I'll use a small sheet pan. I may not have had a lid for this pan. Well, that doesn't really cover it as well as what I would like. Alright, the shells in. Alright, we're going to see how that works out. Give it a stir. Cook, cover and cook for 5 minutes. Okay. Then it says add in the mozzarella cheese on top, add in the chicken, breading side up, making sure that the chicken is submerged in the liquid about halfway. Cover and cook for 3 to 5 minutes or until the chicken reads 150 degrees in the thickest part of the chicken. If your breading is softened too much, throw the pan under the broiler to re-crisp it. Remove from heat and top with basil. Serve hot and enjoy. So what's what we're gonna do? I've got to put you back on pause till this 5 minute thing is up, and then I'll be right back. Okay. Noodles have cooked for about 5 minutes. I ended up putting that whole jar of tomatoes in here, and I used the juice as well because when I took the lid off to stir the pasta, it was kind of like drying up, and it was kind of like drying up, sticking to my pan. So I threw those tomatoes in there. There was another step that I did not read. I didn't have a lid for this pan because some of my pans that I had previously didn't have lids to the like the really big fry pans. Okay, so it says to reduce the temperature down to medium, uncover the pan, add spinach. This recipe calls for fresh spinach, but I didn't get fresh spinach. My husband doesn't eat spinach anyways, so I'm going to leave that one out. And then you add in cream, and I don't have cream, I have milk, whole milk. So I'm going to use 1 cup of whole milk instead of cream. that's going in. And then it calls for, turn this down like almost to low. Cream, nutmeg, and Parmesan cheese. I don't know why in the world you would want to put nutmeg in a pasta dish. But since it calls for some, I'm gonna put it in there. I'm not gonna put much in though. Just a very little bit. I might not even be able to taste it. And then Parmesan cheese. How much Parmesan cheese? 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. I might use a little bit more than a 1/4 cup.
I know why they put nutmeg in there.
Why?
Because the girl that made the recipe, his name's Meg, and she's a nut.
Ah. Alright, I'm going to put not quite a 1/2 cup of Parmesan in there. So I put more parm than it says to. And then what? Parmesan cheese. Okay, and then you stir this up. I'm going to add a little bit more milk, I think. If it's supposed to be kind of saucy, I want it to be saucy. And then it says taste for seasoning. I couldn't tell you my pasta's not done. Add in mozzarella cheese on top. Add in the chicken, breading side up, making sure that the chicken is submerged in here. I think I'm going to put some more. I think I'm going to. How much milk did it call for? 1 cup? That's not enough liquid. You gotta cook your pasta. I bet I put a 1.5 cups or so. Probably add more chicken broth to it if I wanted to. This simmer. I want these noodles to be good and cooked. I don't want it sounds like you do this, that, and another thing, and then it's done. No, it doesn't seem to be working like that. Some of these recipes are trial and error. Maybe those other shells cook faster. I don't know anything about those. It's a banza shell, B-A-N-Z-A. I have no idea what those are. Maybe it's a pre-cooked pasta. I don't know. I'm not going to put the mozzarella cheese on top of it and add the chicken until I'm sure that these noodles are cooked. Might put a splash of more chicken broth in there. Alright, I'm going to pause you. I'm going to let this cook. Okay, I let my pasta cook. Pretty good. It tastes good. It's done. I put my chicken back on top. I'm going to let it cook for a little bit longer. And my chicken pieces are 160, so they're up to temp. Now I'm just gonna cover it. I added some shredded parsley flakes. I added some parsley flakes. Now I'm just gonna add my shredded cheese, my mozzarella. And I'm going to cover this. I'm going to turn my burner off. I did add a splash more chicken broth. I don't know if you saw that. And I just tweaked this recipe a little bit. I think if it didn't matter to you about doing the pasta this way, it's okay. I'm not used to just cooking pasta in a skillet unless it's like Hamburger Helper, but it's usually not a full pound of pasta. But if you know, it takes 10 minutes to boil pasta, so it probably would be better to do it that way. It tastes fine. It really does. It tastes good. I mean, the noodles are done, and it looks pretty good. Just letting that cheese melt. Just getting that cheese melted. So I'll bring the camera down just as soon as it's melted so you can see what it looks like. Looks pretty good. Alright. Here's what it looks like. I think it looks pretty good. I'm probably going to put that lid back on. It said to put the cheese on first and then put the chicken in there, but I did it the other way around. I always seem to do stuff backwards sometimes. I'm just going to add a little bit more. You could add more Italian seasoning to this if you wanted on top. It called for fresh basil. I'm just going to take a pinch more Italian seasoning and sprinkle it around. Just a little bit. There you have it. Creamy one pot pasta chicken meal. Yes, looks pretty good. Can't wait to try it. I did add more milk too, so I'll tweak this recipe a little bit and post it in the description box. Hope you enjoyed this meal. Cracker's Crazy Living. Thank you for joining me. If you have not yet subscribed and you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button below. Send me a like. Ring the bell so you will be notified when I post another video. And have a great night until we meet again from Cracker's Crazy Living. Thanks again. Talk to you soon. Bye.